Hello, my Teaser King family. How is everybody today? Really good day yesterday. Really strong. Uh, Hit 4 of the 6 locks and had to switch a lock today, which I want you to understand. So I had locked Cincinnati when I thought Purdy was in concussion protocol and he can't play and he's got a clear concussion, which takes a week. So I jumped on it before thinking that the spread was going to go way down. And then now it turns out he's going to play. We had the concussion Monday, and all of a sudden now it's really Saturday and he's fine. So I don't understand that. So because I've already bet the game, it's bet, but I took the lock off of it. So it's really just semantics. Changing it from lock to unlock. Because it's not, to me, it was a lock if Purdy was out. But with Purdy playing, it's not, I'm not locking now. Do I think Cincinnati and 9.5 can win? Absolutely. I think it'll be a close game. Joe Burrow, I mean, he's been there before. So I think this will be a good game. I think it'll be the best game of the day. Will it be, can Cincinnati win? Yeah. Deebo Samuel's out. We saw Frisco lose to Minnesota, so but they have 2 losses. So if everybody was healthy and the spread was 3, I would have probably taken the Niners. But they're not all healthy, and even though Purdy passed the protocol problems, doesn't mean he's 100% either. So just something I do. I did it last night, so anybody buying today isn't going to play it as a lock. So because I do it like this, then I don't want somebody purchasing it this morning saying, oh, Cincinnati's a lock, and it's not. So that's why I take it off. That's the method to the madness. So yesterday's locks were beautiful. It was UCF West Virginia over, which was a joke. It was Ohio, Miami of Ohio under, which was right on. Georgia, Florida under, got a little high. Georgia's just scoring too much. I can't under them anymore. I can't lock them under. Let's see. USC Cal was a free pick and a lock. They played a 98. See, I love that. I knew Cal could score, and we know USC has no defense and scores, so it's a perfect. That was a perfect one, and I felt good that I gave the free pick so everybody could win with it. I didn't know I was going to lock it when I free picked it, but after looking at it, checking the injuries, I locked it too. So just because I free pick it, like Philadelphia today is the free pick is not a lock today. So just because I free pick something doesn't mean I lock it. But usually I'm trying to find a real good play for everybody so they can do it. Hey, G, how are you? I'm trying to find a good play to make everybody some money. So I don't want to play a bad, a lesser play for the free pick. So I am giving out a good pick for the free pick. Oklahoma State, Cincinnati, lock over. That was good. And the only lock I lost last night, the San Jose State, Hawaii, somehow played to a 35-0 win for San Jose State. Hawaii forgot that they were playing. Most of the time when these overs don't go over, it's because of the turnovers. And there was a couple of turnovers that we could have gotten. We needed Hawaii to score, obviously, which doesn't, now the theory going into it is all of these is San Jose State gives up 31 a game and Hawaii scores and Hawaii gives up 36. So you assume San Jose State's going to score 50 and that Hawaii will put up 20 and you'll have 70, but Hawaii didn't score. I mean, what the fuck? And San Jose State did a lot of running, so that was part of it. Some nice plays that I won with were Kansas over Oklahoma. I was picking like crazy. SMU, A&M. Uh, let's see. I lost with Utah. Then I hit the Duke under. Notre Dame over. I didn't play it, but I hit it. Tulane Rice over was a joke. Let's see. The Air Force looks really strong. Ohio State under I had. UCLA, what did I played it over, and the guy kept fumbling for UCLA. They had 4 turnovers in the first half, where this easily goes over. So what are you going to do? And that's, can you predict the unders? We won good. We had a real good, Oak State was my main lock, and then I added UCF to it and USC. So, yeah, those were the key ones. I really needed Oak State. I had them in 2 locks, and they won. But, see, that's the method to the madness. You must play when you find an Oak State. Now, how do I find Oak State? Well, they start off not playing well. Then they change quarterbacks. Then they beat Kansas State 39-31, and then they beat Kansas. Last week, they put up 48 on West Virginia, who's got a pretty good defense at West Virginia. So I go, wow, they're scoring. Cincinnati scores scores enough. They have an over defense, and the over-under was only 53 or 56, and they got into the 60s anyway. But that was the key, and that's what I keep track of is the team changing. The bad team changing quarterbacks, all of a sudden they're good. I did it with Van Dyke and Rising, and now here's Oklahoma State and Tennessee, Kentucky. I like the way I figured that one out. I was going to go under on the game, but after I researched Kentucky, they're not an under team, they're an over team. But if you look at their full year stats, they're an under team. But if you just look at the SEC stats, they're an over team. They gave up 51 to Georgia. So I played it over instead of the under. So it's simple things like that you start revealing. Ohio State, Wisconsin, how I didn't lock that game, I really don't know. I'm watching that game going, this over-under was 47, so you under 53, and I'm thinking that there's no way this game gets anywhere near that. The Colorado UCLA game, I kind of forced a little bit. I wanted to play it, and it was either take UCLA, which I would have won with, or take the over. I knew Colorado would have difficulty because UCLA's got a really good defense, and I saw the Colorado game. So I knew that was going to be problems. And then I hit the Arizona. I was really proud of that one, hitting Arizona as a home dog to Oak State, and Arizona won the game. They've been playing really well, really strong defense. So I was really proud of that. And, overall it was good. Games I have so many, and then I like Tulane Rice I like. And the Air Force I like, but I can't play them all. That's where I get into the problems. I liked like A&M. I didn't play it. I liked SMU. I didn't play it. I like Kansas. I called Kansas, Oklahoma. I said, I think they can win, and over, and both hit. I was not shocked that Kansas won again. Kansas is a very good team. I was actually shocked they were getting 9. But, see, it gets hard to lock against Oklahoma, right, versus the Oak State Cincinnati over. So that's why sometimes I don't play the game, as there's too much risk in my mind, or I don't want to fuck with Alabama. I don't want to fuck with Georgia, so I don't play the game. But I still can pick it. So anyway, that was yesterday. Very, very good. I couldn't believe when I woke up. I said, okay, let's see San Jose State, Hawaii over 53. And it was 35-0. I was like, are you fucking with me? I couldn't believe that score. All right. So let's go to the NFL. So today I've got 2 locks, and as I said, I had 3. I had Cincinnati locked when Purdy was out, but Purdy is not out. How he passed concussion protocol when nobody else had it, and they played Monday night, and he gets the concussion. How he's ready to go by Sunday, and nobody else is, doesn't make any sense. He's lucky he didn't have Cam Rising's doctor do it. He'd be out the rest of the year. So I jumped on Cincy and locked it, but the bet's in, so I took the lock off. I don't want people to bet it as a lock now that Purdy's playing. The whole point was Purdy was out. I got Joe Burrow, and I'm getting points, and that would be fine. So I played the game because I bet it, but I didn't play as a lock. So if you can understand that one. So let's see. All right. I looked at the line when I woke up, and we'll look at the line again. Okay, New Orleans, 1.5, 43.5. Carr against Minshew, as far as I can tell. Jacksonville, 2 and 40.5. To Pitt, we got Trevor Lawrence, who's questionable, but I would assume he's playing against Pickett. And Pickett looked pretty fucking good last week against the Rams. He's like an Oklahoma State. All of a sudden, he looked really good against the Rams. I was shocked they beat the Rams. So he was very good against the Rams. And now they're at home as a home dog. So I think, the perception of Pickett as he sucks now got a lot better. Houston, 3.5, 43.5 over Carolina. A lot of injuries on both teams. They both suck. I don't know we'll walk through the games in a minute. Philly, 7, 43.5. That is your free pick. Take Philly -1. As long as they can cheat for the first downs, I might as well bet on them. Washington lost to the fucking Giants. They only scored 7 on the Giants last week. Like, oh, yeah, they're going to light up Philadelphia. Now, they're at home, and they're a dog, and it's not the Giants. I get it. But I think all we have is Philly to win, so that's what I like. TK, the Saudis have a lot of sporting events now. No, they got a lot of money, but I don't get it. What are they? I mean, are they in Saudi Arabia, or are they here and they're just hosting them? Hard to say. Anyway, let me finish this. So Philly is the play -1. LA and Dallas, 6.5, 45.5, 46. Stafford against Prescott. Prescott will have at least 2 interceptions today, like every other game. Miami, New England. Miami, 8.5, 46.5. Everybody seems healthy on Miami that needs to be. We got Waddle and we got Hill. We got Mozart. So we got the big offensive weapons, which makes me feel a lot better. New England, I mean, what do they got? But they've been putting up some points. And Miami, the key to this is Miami doesn't have a defense. Miami, great offense. So it's like USC here. This is like USC playing, Cal. I mean, Cal being New England. The Jets, 35.5 against the Giants. I mean, so it's Jones against Tag in that game. And then in this game, it's Zach Wilson against Taylor. Jones is out. So, I think the Jets finally get an easy game here. And the game's a home game for them. So I think there'll be a lot more Jet fans than Giant fans in the crowd. Atlanta, 2.5 and 35.5 to Tennessee. Riddler against Willis. Tannehill's out. So we got a few backup quarterbacks in. I'm surprised. Who am I surprised? No, okay. So Wilson against Taylor for the Giants, and then here Riddler against Willis because Levis is out and Tannehill is out. all they got's Willis, who he'll probably try to run, but, Atlanta sees Riddler running. It's kind of a low total of 35.5, but so be it. Minnesota, Green Bay. We got Minnesota 1.5, 41.5. Cousins against Love. And Jefferson, we know, is out. But Aaron Jones is playing for Green Bay. He's probable. He's had the hamstring problem the whole year since the Bear game. Again, no preseason. First week, pulls his hamstrings out 7 weeks because you're trying to not get him hurt in the preseason. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know what to do with this game. This should be an under. However, with Jones playing, he can score. Minnesota, this is like 200 teams, but Green Bay's under because they haven't had Jones. So I don't know. At first, Green Bay was 2.5-point favorite. I love Minnie as the dog after the Niner win. I don't love him as much as the favorite. And then with Jones back, I was going to go under. Now I might go over. It's a very confusing game, this one. But I know Love sucks, so that's all that matters. The Browns and the Seahawks, Seattle 3.5, 37.5. We got P.J. Walker. So there's another quarterback down in Watson. P.J. Walker against Geno Smith. Strong Cleveland defense against a strong Seattle offense. I'm still not sure if the Seattle receivers are playing. This is a 4:00 game. So I'm still not sure is Metcalf and Lockett and Walker playing. They're still listed questionable, which I'm surprised. I'll take another look at that in a minute. KC 746.5 to Denver. Mahomes against Russell Wilson. It should be a pretty good game, actually. Denver's not that bad. And KC has a very strong defense. I think this is a high number because KC's playing this strong defense and they didn't go over with San Diego, which I would have thought they would have for sure. So I'm not sure we're going to see a high-scoring game here. Cincinnati, Frisco, Purdy's playing against Burrow. 49ers, 5.5, 43.5. In this one, I've already bet Cincinnati at 3.5. What about the snow? Okay, so what about the snow, Kobe? What's your thought on that? So this game, you've got Purdy playing and you've got McCaffrey playing. You've got them out. Deebo Samuel out. Kittle's playing. Ayuk's playing. So they're pretty healthy, but you've got to understand you just fucking lost to Cleveland and then you lost to Minnesota. Okay, I can maybe understand the Cleveland, the kid missed the field goal or they would have won. The loss to Minnesota, are you kidding me? And there was a fumble by McCaffrey at the 5 and 2 interceptions by Purdy. So it's turnovers, but what's with the turnovers? Oh, Samuel was out. The backup ran the wrong way twice. Purdy probably had a concussion at the time. So the problem is you got Cincinnati and Joe Burrow, and they're playing well and need the game at 3-3. So I think this will be the game of the day. I think this will be close. I don't know. It's hard with the Niners to go over because of the defense. And you've got Burrow as a dog, which is always strong. So I don't know. I think this will be a close game, middle of the road scoring. Baltimore, 9.5, 44.5 to Arizona. Now, this is interesting, is apparently Kyler Murray's ready to go, and they didn't suit him up today. So they're staying with Dobbs. What does that tell you? So Murray's probably going to be traded or something. So probably they thought, oh, we'll just put Dobbs in. He sucks. Looked at him in a Tennessee playoff game. And then all of a sudden he's starting to play well. And they're going, oh, we can get rid of Murray and get some defensive help. We beat Dallas with Dobbs. And so I think that's their thought process, is maybe to trade Kyler Murray just before the trade deadline and get a couple of first-round picks for him. And then they can pick up Van Dyke or Hartman or somebody. And that would be my thought of what to do, because we know Kyler Murray is not really that good. So Lamar against Dobbs. Lamar. Now, if anybody thinks Lamar is going to do what he did last week at home against the Lions, you're out of your mind. There's no way he does what he did last week. Not going to happen. But that's how it's bet. Why is Baltimore 9.5? Dallas wasn't 9.5, I don't think. Philadelphia, I thought, was a 6 or 7 here. All of a sudden, Baltimore is 9.5 over Arizona because he has a big game against the Lions. Like, that was surprising anybody. San Diego, 8.5, 46.5 to the Bears with the grocery clerk at quarterback. He looked pretty good in the highlights. I think this probably is a high-scoring game, actually. Over under 46. San Diego scores, has no defense, has no coach. I like Kellen Moore. That's about it. The head coach got his head up his ass. Oh, it's 4th down. I guess we're supposed to go for it because that's what this formula says in a macro look, not how is it against the Bears. See, 4th and 1 against the Bears is not the same as 4th and 1 against Philadelphia or 4th and 1 against Kansas City or San Francisco. It's a whole different 4th and 1, but they're lumping them together. They're just saying, well, 4th and 1, it's 52%, you're going to make it. Oh, okay. So I guess I'll go for it. I don't know how to coach. I just know I'm going to just go for it. We lost because I went for it on 4th and 1, but I was supposed to. Oh, okay. Yeah, look what happened to Oregon against Washington. They went for it on 4th and 1 3 times, and they lost by 3 points because the coach has his head up his ass. Anyway, I like this game over, but we got to see more of the grocery clerk. I mean, is he really – he looked fairly good. He looked like he knew what he was doing. And that's what I picked up with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, I was watching him play, even though it was his first few games, and he'd go back, and he was very decisive and very confident, made good throws, not a problem. Looked like a 5-year Pro Bowl quarterback. So that's what you looked. And I looked at the grocery clerk in the highlights last week, and he looked just like it. He rolled, he threw, was making really good passes, unlike Fields. So he's not that bad. So I think we can get an over with it, but I want to see more. There's so many other games, but that's what I think will happen. And the last one is the Lions, 8-45. We've got Garoppolo playing against Goff. Crosby's playing. Which Detroit team shows up? The last week team, or the one that beat Carolina with Vince Young at quarterback, or the one that beat Atlanta with Riddler at quarterback? And here you got Garoppolo, who's not better than either of those two at quarterback. So those are the lines. I think we've got the injuries. Let's look at the Seattle game for what's going on with my boys. Let's refresh it. It's funny. You go to a web page, you think it refreshes, and it doesn't. And then you're hitting refresh, and you get all this new data. So let's see. Seattle. I was right on it. McIntosh is out. Walker's questionable still. Adams, the safety's questionable. Charbonnet, the runner from UCLA, is probable. Lockett is still questionable with the hamstring. Metcalf still questionable with the Rams. So you're really fucked on this game at this point. So if they're all out, it's an easy under with Cleveland's defense. If they're all playing, it's probably a good Seattle play. So until we know more, and I can't believe they're still questionable at 11:40 on game day, but I guess they're game time decisions, which makes me more nervous. So again, it's enough risk to bet. I don't need more risk by betting on questionable guys. Now, I would say 95% they'll all play. All the questionables will play. I think unless you're doubtful or out for the season, you're probably not going to play. All right, let me go through my scores, and then we'll see what happens. So Greg and John, TK, the Saudis have a lot of sporting events now, okay? And what's the point of that? Do we care? I don't care. I mean, if I was an athlete, I wouldn't play in the golf tour. I think that's stupid. They're playing in shorts and their teams. Golf is an individual event. What the fuck is that? I have no desire to watch it. Every once in a while, I scroll through and it's on NBC, and I watch like a hole, and I go, they're in shorts? No, this is professionals. You don't wear shorts. So I can't get into it. I think it's stupid. They seem to hand out a lot more money. If I was a player, I'd do it for the money, because that's why I'm doing anything for the money, except for this, where I'm doing economics, not for the money. Kobe, welcome to the class, Kobe. What about the snow? It's supposed to snow in Denver. And so what is the point of that? So it snows. Snow doesn't affect the game. The only thing that affects the game is wind. High winds will affect it. It's hard to pass in it. You miss field goals. Snow, it helps the offense because you know where you're cutting and the cornerback doesn't. So it really helps the offense a little bit, but I don't think it's a big deal. I've played in snow. I've golfed in snow. I don't think it really has a big effect. What are they talking about? 1, 2 inches, 10 inches? If it's a real big snowstorm, I would say it's a better under, because then they won't be able to run as fast. But otherwise, I don't really see a problem. What's the weather in these games? Who sucks, Greg or John? Where's Bobby? Why don't you give him a call and say we're waiting class on him? I don't know the weather in these games. I only look at the totals. If the totals move a lot, then I dig in. If they don't, they don't. Indy's in a dome. Pitt's at home. It's 41-42. I don't know. Carolina's in North Carolina. I'm not worried. Washington, still a 44. I'm not worried. Dallas, no problem. Miami, no. Well, unless you get wind in Miami. But the over went from 44.5 to 46, so I don't think there's weather there. The Giants, it doesn't matter, because the Jets are just going to put them to sleep with their defense. Tennessee really hasn't. It went down probably because Tannehill went out. Minnesota, Green Bay, I don't see the number going down, so I'm not worried. Cleveland, Seattle, it's went down. Maybe there's weather in Seattle, or maybe it's because Watson's not the quarterback for Cleveland, and you've got the receivers out. I think this is more because Watson's not playing, but PJ Walker's better. KC, Denver, I don't see the total going down. So even if it's snowing, it's not affecting. It went from 46 to 47, so I don't see that. Cincinnati and the Niners, 44. Hasn't really moved. Baltimore, Arizona, certainly no weather. San Diego, Chicago, no weather indoors. Oakland, Detroit, indoors. So where there might be trouble, maybe in Miami or the Giants and Washington, I'm not seeing the under go down. So who sucks, Greg or John? Which guy sucks? So pretty much I went through the injuries just a while ago doing my class preparation. So the Arizona one's interesting, that Kyler Murray's out with the knee, but he's ready to play, and they're not letting him play. Atlanta, Robinson is probable today. They're just going to run it anyway. Baltimore, we've got Odell Beckham Jr. is probable. Bunch of outs of people that I have no idea. Ojabo from Michigan is out with an ankle. He's been out for a while. J.K. Dobbins, we know, with the Achilles. Buffalo already played. Carolina, there's nobody on the team. Well, Chenault, I know. Lewowski Chenault from Colorado, excellent players, out with an ankle. Miles Sanders will probably play. He's the running back. And that's it. And you got Vince Young as your quarterback. So this is the problem with Carolina. They have nobody on the team. They're very weak. But how do you bet Houston and C.J. Stroud as a road favorite? You can't. See, I don't like betting road favorites. I took Philly today. That's kind of the exception because they cheat. So I might as well play with the cheaters. But outside than that, I mean, the only road favorite I could possibly play is Kansas City. Can't play Baltimore. So I could see playing Kansas City. Philly and Kansas City, that's about it. These others, I can't play. The Jets are really they're really a home favorite because it's the same field. I can't play Minnesota as a road favorite. The rest are home favorites. Atlanta, I can't play, even though it's Willis against Riddler, not Tannehill. They're just going to hand the ball off to Henry 55 times. Houston, I can't play, and Jacksonville, I can't play. I don't like Jacksonville. New Orleans, Indy scores a lot of points. They play high-scoring games, so I'm not really gonna fucking New Orleans. Indy was a 1.5. I like New Orleans as a dog, but New Orleans, maybe I trust Indy. I don't mind New Orleans. They'll be better when Hainer is the quarterback, but I don't know. Anyway, back to the injuries. The Bears, the whole team's injured. Fields out till mid-November. Cincinnati, I don't see Burrow or Chase. I'm a happy boy. Cleveland, like I said, Watson's out with the shoulder. Kareem Hunt's questionable with the thigh. He'll play. Nick Chubb, we know, is out. Conklin, the tackle's out. That's about it. Do we care who's Jay Phillips? He's a linebacker on the IR. Okay, yeah. Dallas. Vander Esch is out with the neck. Diggs is out. Unfortunately, Prescott is playing, so that hurts them. See, that's what you need is Prescott to get hurt. Then there'd be a better team. Denver. Let's see. Nobody that we would know is on the injured list. The Lions, right now their center he's doubtful with the toe. A lot of questionables. Montgomery's out with the ribs. See, Montgomery's always injured, so that's why good pickup by the Lions. He looks good for the 2 games he can play, and then he hurts his ribs. He'll be out for 6 weeks. But that's Lions. Gardner Johnson, I don't know who he is. He's out. And Hooker, I'm waiting for Hooker to come back. What the fuck are they waiting on him for? He should be starting already. Green Bay, Aaron Jones, probable with the hamstring. A lot of guys are probable. So they're like do or die right now. They got to start winning. Houston, a lot of probables. And a lot of guys we've never heard of. And you wonder why they suck. It's all about talent. You got talent, you're going to be good. You don't have talent, it doesn't matter. You're not going to win. This is not next man. I love when they say next man up. That doesn't make any sense. No such thing as next man up. That's if everybody's equal. That's socialism. Not in the NFL. Everybody's not equal. Let's see. Richardson, of course, is out. And a bunch of defensive players are out. Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is still questionable with the knee. I'm assuming he's going to play. A lot of questionables on Jacksonville. Kansas City. Let's see. Butker, the kicker, is probable with an illness. McKinnon, running back's probable. And that's it. So we don't see Kelsey or Mahomes on there. San Diego, a lot of questionables. Mike Williams out with the knee. That's it. So they're pretty. I didn't see a Boza on there. Look at that. I thought they're always like injured, and then maybe they maybe do you a favor and play a half. The Rams, they're pretty healthy actually. Yeah, nobody that we've heard of is there. So they got Kupp and they got Stafford and they got Aaron Donald. They're all playing, so that's good. Oakland, they got Crosby probable with the knee. That's good news. Garoppolo probable with the back. I'm a little surprised he's playing. He's not good anyway, but I'm surprised if he's got a bad back. One of our students says he didn't think he'd come back. So again, naughty. Don't bring us that unless you're sure. Miami, Ramsey probable. So Jalen Ramsey, the cornerback. Waddle probable. Mozart probable. Tyreek Hill probable. And a bunch of cornerbacks are questionable. And we will see. So we won't, probably a high-scoring one with Miami. They got the weapons going, so that's all I care about. Minnesota, Jefferson late November, and that's it. The Giants, the whole team's questionable. Daniel Jones out with the neck. Barkley is probable with an elbow. Waller is questionable with the hamstring, the tight end. Thibodeau, linebacker, questionable with the knee. I'm sure he'll play. I don't imagine any of these questionables don't play because the difference is it's once a week. And you don't really want somebody replacing you. And you want to play, you're a football player. Baseball, they sit out, or basketball because it's every day or every other day. But when you get into football, it's once a week. And with these buys, you don't want to miss if you can. So they'll take the shot and they'll take the drugs and they'll play. So unless you're out, you're gonna probably play. The Jets, Jets. My team out. Gardner is playing. Sauce Gardner. Becton's playing. Cornerback. Another cornerback's probable. Defensive lineman's probable. Carter Cobb from Green Bay is questionable with the shoulder. Boy, a lot of defensive players are playing. That's when you get a good coach. Everybody says, yeah, I can make it. Aaron Rodgers, we hope he comes back soon. New England. You realize if he's there, they're probably undefeated. I mean, maybe they lose the Dallas game. Maybe. That's about it. I mean, they already beat Philly and Buffalo already. So they beat some good teams without Aaron Rodgers. New England, tight end probable. Wide receiver, questionable. Montgomery. Question. Whole team's questionable. And then you got the outs. This is New England. I've never seen a team with so many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys out. Not questionable, out. But nobody I've ever heard of except for Boutte from LSU. New Orleans, a lot of questionables. The lineman's out. Kamara, probable. That's good news. Questionable linebacker. Tyreek Hill, questionable with the chest. The tight end quarterback, or Taysom Hill, I should say. He was actually a good quarterback at BYU. It's surprising that he doesn't throw more because he's pretty good. Philadelphia, let's see. Let's see, Penny. Jalen Hurts probable with the knee. See, he keeps fucking around with that play. He's going to blow his knee out, and then everybody can laugh and go, yeah, it's a great play to put your quarterback at harm's way like that. All he needs to do is one defensive lineman come in late and just go after the knee. If I'm on the other side and I'm sick of this play, I would do that. I would send my linebackers after his knees. Say, fuck that. I'm not going to go down. I'm going after him. And then you won't see that play anymore. It's cheating anyway, but it's not football. That's what I think. That's what I have. It's like the guy going on second base in the 10th inning of a baseball game. You got to earn your way on. You don't just get second base. And it's the same thing here. You've got to. You can't be pushed. You've got to run for your yardage. You don't get carried and pushed. That's not football. That's rugby. You want to do that? Go play rugby. Pittsburgh. D. Johnson, wide receiver, is probable, questionable, questionable. A lot of questionables on Pittsburgh. The Niners, Purdy, yes. Williams, the O tackle, is questionable with an ankle. Deebo Samuel is November. And that's it. So McCaffrey's not even on the list. We've already gone through Seattle. They're all questionable. Tampa already played. Tennessee, we know Tannehill's out. And they don't have anybody else on the team but Henry to even work it. Will Levis hasn't played 5 seconds yet, and he's still questionable. He's out with a quad. And then last is Washington. Let's see. Nobody that I've ever heard of. All right, so that is your injury list. So the major injuries are Daniel Jones is out for the Giants. Taylor's playing. Tannehill's out for Tennessee. Willis is playing. Purdy's is playing. And we know Minshew's been playing. And that's, I think, it. And the grocery clerk's playing for the Bears. Greg and John. Bobby Bo, where are you partying? Bobby Bo's not even awake yet. It's only noon. All right, enough of Bobby Bo. All right, so here's my scores for today. I got Indy 24, New Orleans 21. Indy scores a lot. They put up 38 on fucking Cleveland last week, so they have a good offense. Their defense sucks. They're actually an over team. They give up 27. New Orleans gives up 18, but with New Orleans' Kamara back and Thomas and Olave. I didn't realize Mike Thomas was from Ohio State. So they got 2 Ohio State receivers, and Thomas and Kamara's from Tennessee. And then I got Carr. So I think they're going to score more than what we're realizing when you take in the first. So they lost to Jacksonville 31-24 last week. Now Jacksonville's doesn't have a good defense, so that's your first one. New Orleans is an under team, gives up 18. Like I said, they're getting better. Indy's an over team. They give up 27. Minshew's a much better quarterback than Richardson. Hard to understand that draft. Again, the people in charge are fucking idiots. They're the same ones running the country and the Federal Reserve and all the banks. I mean, we know the banks run the government, but the people running the banks are idiots. All right, so that's that. I got Pitt 20-17 over Jacksonville. Pitt beat the fucking Rams, and Pickett looked good. Strong defense from Pitt. They both give up 21. Jacksonville's an E team. Pitt's an under team. Pitt doesn't score a lot, but they're getting better. Pickett week 1 versus Pickett now is a whole different animal. He's throwing a lot of back shoulder fades. So Jacksonville has to go on the road and blow out Pitt. It's not going to happen. Houston, Carolina. Houston's an under team. They give up 19. They get the good defense. Carolina's the Z team. Give up 31. We got Stroud against Young. Over under 43. I would take Houston if the game was in Houston, but the game is in Carolina. I cannot play Stroud as a road favorite, although I think they will win. As far as over under, I have no idea. You can't trust Young to score. So I got a 24-10 game here, which would lead to an under. Houston will probably bottle them up, and then Houston should be able to score on them. So 24-10. Philly, Washington, there's your free pick. Philly's a B team. Gives up 20. Washington gives up 27 and put up a whole 7 points on the Giants. Howell against Hurts. Howell sucks. Why is he even in the league? Howell and Love, I don't understand why they're even in the league. They suck. I got Philly 28-10. Philly with a 20 defense should keep Washington down, and then they'll run the cheat play, and they'll be able to score on that. So Washington with the 27 defense, yeah. So it's all Philly here. LA and Dallas. LA's an under team. They give up 20 a game. Dallas is a B, gives up 17. Prescott gives up 2 interceptions a game, and Stafford looking okay. You put pressure on him, he folds. He threw an interception to J.J. Watt last week, which killed the Rams against Pittsburgh. Look for Prescott to be all over him. I think he gets sacked 3 or 4 times. Prescott, 2 or 3 interceptions. So I think it's 24-20 Dallas. So hard to love anything here. I guess you'd take LA in 12.5. Seems like a big number against that. They lost to the Niners 30-23. Dallas, you can't trust. Just Prescott. I mean, the coach is terrible. New England, Miami. New England's a W team. They give up 25. Miami's the over team. Score 30, give up 27. Mac Jones, what is he doing in the league against Tag, who is okay? I got 41-20 Miami here. Against this defense, they should go up and down the field. Miami tends to score a lot at home. New England surprised last week with the what did they do? They beat Buffalo 29-25. So they put up 29 on Buffalo. Well, Miami's got a worse defense than Buffalo. So I can't imagine this 46 they don't hit 40 in a teaser. I think Miami hits 40 in the teaser against this defense and the way they play at home. So here's my problem with Tag. He goes to Buffalo, doesn't show up. He goes to Philly, doesn't show up. Then they'll beat this team by 50 points, or last week they won who did they beat? They lost to Philly 31-17. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, they beat Carolina 42-21. So, I mean, when they play the weak teams, they pile it on. And when they play the good teams, they don't show up. It's a bad coach. They don't have defense. So that's why you must understand the team. USC, were you expecting them to shut down California yesterday? Were you expecting them to shut down Utah, who Oregon did a nice job of? Are you expecting them to shut down Washington? I mean, they just don't know. They don't have a defense. You don't win without a defense. That's why Georgia wins the titles and Alabama wins the titles, is the defense. And you don't have the defense here. Look at Clemson. They've lost 4 games. They gave up 28 to Duke, and yesterday they lose to North Carolina State. Notre Dame beat North Carolina State by 50 points. So I was glad to see Notre Dame with 53-0, and Hartman actually looked like a quarterback again. So that's what you have. So this is why you got to understand the team. Miami, over. Just play them over. And then you got teams like Pittsburgh. Just play them under. And then that's what you're learning. The Jets, beautiful under team. So the Jets, under team, give up 20. The Giants are a Z team, which means they don't score. They give up 25. I got the Jets winning 20-3. They're not going to score on the Jets. And the Jets are good at moving. Wilson is getting better, and against this defense, he should have a good game. Like I told you, against Denver, he had a good game, and they won easily. So I'll look for them to kick their field goals and maybe score a touchdown or 2. Like I said, 20-3 against Taylor. Atlanta, Tennessee, these are under teams playing a 19 defense and a 20 defense. Riddler against Willis, so we're not really sure Willis is a wild card now. I don't think he can complete a pass over 5 yards, and he's a runner, which we haven't seen a runner in the league. So I think Atlanta's well prepared for this, as they see who do they see? Atlanta, Carolina, Tampa, New Orleans. They don't really have a running quarterback in their division. I guess Riddler would be it, but I guess they see him at practice. I got Atlanta 17-13. The 19 defense and the 20. Atlanta doesn't have much of an offense. Tennessee, without Tannehill, is just going to run Derrick Henry all game. So look for this to be a Army-Navy game. Minnesota, Green Bay, I'm scratching my head. I got them both as under teams. Minnie gives up 23. Green Bay gives up 22. Cousins against Love. Huge mismatch there, and Cousins sucks. Love is pathetic. I'm scratching my head. They had Green Bay as a 2-point favorite. I made one comment during the week shows is that if you find anytime Love's the favorite, just bet the dog. And here he was favorite. I was going to bet strong on Minnie. Then Minnie went favorite after they beat the Niners. And I think I don't know that they can reproduce that game. I got Minnie winning 23-20. A 23 defense and a 22 defense. So they're at the edge of unders. They're not like the Atlanta, Tennessee 19-20 defense or the 15 defense of Kansas City and Buffalo and teams like that. So like Thursday night, Tampa Bay's a 17 defense, Buffalo's a 17 defense, and it was 24-18. It was a 42. The under wins. You got good defenses. I don't know what to tell you here because Minnesota lost Jefferson. They beat the Niners. Green Bay has Love, but they get Aaron Jones back, and that's the X factor because we've only seen him once, and he looked good against the Bears, which me and you could look good against the Bears. So I don't know the effect Aaron Jones is going to have. I know it's a positive one for Green Bay. Almost tempted to play him as a home dog against Kirk Cousins without Jefferson. Frisco gave him 3 or 4 turns. I know they gave him 3 turnovers. I think 2 interceptions and a fumble. There might have been a 4th. That's how Minnesota won. Is Green Bay going to give them all that? The interceptions were bad. The receiver was in for Deebo Samuel, ran out instead of in. The quarterback threw it in, thinking he's going to go in. That's where he should have went. This is the problem when you get the injuries and you don't have training camp or preseason games. So I don't really know. I got 23-20 Minnesota here. But I didn't know Aaron Jones was in when I made the pick. So it's going to be close. I think it'll still be close. I think it'll be a close game. I was going to go under on it. Now I think I'm going over with Aaron Jones. Again, it's a 41. All I need is 35. How do you trust Love? You can't. Now, last week, Green Bay, without him, lost to Denver 19-17. Denver, with a 33 defense, he couldn't score on. So I don't know what Minnie is. I think they're getting better. So right now, it's kind of a wait-and-see game. I guess if you had to play it, maybe you take Green Bay as a home dog with Jones, or maybe you go – I was going to go under, but with Jones – see, Jones changes the whole thing. The under goes to over. The Minnesota pick goes to a Green Bay pick. We'll have to see, but he's that good of a player. Who's playing at 1? Go check the schedule. What am I, your schedule maker? Cleveland, Seattle. Seattle 3.5. You've got the injuries that are all questionable. We don't know. Walker against Smith. So he's in for Watson. I think he's better. I mean, they put up 39 last week without Watson, so I don't think that's it. 2 good defenses, a 19 and a 20. Cleveland with the 19, Seattle with the – it's funny. Cleveland was a 15 last week, and they give up 38 to Indy, and now they're a 19. So it's still a little bit – we need a few more weeks to really zone in on the teams, but we have pretty good ideas. I got Seattle winning 2017, assuming my receivers are playing. They're questionable. I don't know. If they're out, then it's a Cleveland play or an under play. But it's down to 37, so it's hard to go under 43. But Cleveland has the strong defense. But Seattle's playing good defensive too. So this is a wait and see. Again, if we've got, it's Watson's out, but is that a bad thing? And then you get P.J. Walker, who seems to be playing well, like Tyrod Taylor. So maybe that's not so bad. It's only a 3.5 spread. So Again, I got Seattle 2017. I think it'll be close. KC, Denver, KC, the A team, the 15 defense. This is the difference. KC is not USC anymore. They're Georgia now. They've got a 50 defense with Mahomes. Denver's getting much better. I took the 70 out of their Miami stats and put in like a 30. So, okay, let's say they lost by 30. 70 is very unusual. They just quit in the game and they got tongue lashed, and I'm sure Sean Payton beat them up. And anyway, so they're like a 26 defense if they gave up 30 points instead of 70. So that's how big an effect. But they've been playing well defensively the last few weeks, much better after the 70. I don't see how KC loses this game because Mahomes is just so shifty and he just knows where to go, what spot to go to. He can run if he needs to. And with Kelsey, they just outsmart you. I got 27-17 KC. I think that's about right. I think you play a teaser, you win. I mean, I can see taking Denver in 13. Maybe they keep it close, but KC just beat San Diego last week. So I just don't see them losing to Denver. Their defense is just too weak. They'll watch the Miami game film and see what happened. But it was a lot of running in that. So look for KC to dominate the game and 27-17. Cincinnati and the Niners. Cincinnati's an under team with a kind of a question mark. They give up 21 on defense, but Burrow has been hurt the first 3 or 4 weeks. Now he's better. He wears the sleeve on his calf, and he's apparently much, much better. So I don't think they're an under team. I think they're more getting to be like a B team, which is they'll score mid-20s, give up 21. The Niners, of course, they're the best team off of 2 losses. Hard to believe. Now, the kicker misses the field goal in Cleveland or they win, which cost us 2 locks. And then we've got last week, how they lost to Minnesota. You've got to be kidding. Again, it's the new receiver comes in, doesn't know what he's doing. Well, that's surprising. So now they've lost 2 in a row to Minnesota. Wow, that's crazy. So they give up 15. They got the defense. So this will be fairly low scoring. I got 23-17 Niners, and with Purdy playing, I think that's about right. Without Purdy, they'd probably have trouble getting to 23. It would have been a lot of running to McCaffrey. Now it's funny. Okay, he had a hurt oblique, McCaffrey, and this week he's not even on the injured list. So I think the Niners win it close. I think you can take Burrow as a dog almost any time. Now that the line's back to 5.5 because Purdy's playing, 11.5 and Burrow is a pretty good play. So 23-17 is my score. It'll be hard to score on them, but Burrow is playing well, and they need the game. They need the game a lot more than the Niners do. They're 3-3, so look for them to win. Baltimore, Arizona. Baltimore is an A team. They give up 14. Lamar against Dobbs. Arizona's a W. They don't score a lot. They give up 26. Lamar should have a decent game here. I got him 24-17. Again, they will never replicate, unless they play the Lions again, they'll never replicate that game. That was some of the worst coaching I've ever seen on the Lions. They couldn't make an adjustment. They didn't even tackle. The guys who were wide open. The tight ends wide open, the fullback wide open. I mean, nobody within 20 yards. What kind of coaching is that? You acted like you never saw a Baltimore game in your life. Where was the pressure on Lamar? They don't blitz on. They couldn't get pressure. They didn't cover because they have a shitty secondary. So look for Arizona to play them much tighter. I got 24-17, maybe 27-17. I'm real leery to lay 3.5. I liked it at 8.5 to 2.5. But 9.5, I can't lay 3.5. Baltimore will never play unless they got to play a team like the Lions with totally terrible coaching and a weak defense. And Arizona is pretty pretty bad. They're pretty close to that, but the game's not at Baltimore. It's at Arizona. Baltimore. So what happens is psychologically you blow out the Lions, right? You blow out a team, and you got to travel, and you kind of let down. You kind of are like, we'll just show up and win, and look how good we are. Look what we did last week. So that's really the problem, right? So that's why I like the team after a loss. They come intense. Utah next week is going to be intense. But in this case, Baltimore after a big win is going to be flat. They don't, it's hard to get up after winning 52-0 to like, okay, let's get intense for this game. You just let down because there's nothing to prove. You just killed them. The Bears against San Diego. The Bears are a W team with the new quarterback, the grocery clerk. They give up 27. San Diego gives up 26. So this would be a lock over if Fields was playing, or if the grocery clerk had played 5 or 6 weeks and we knew how he was. He looked pretty good last week in the win over Oakland. But he put up 30 points on Oakland. That's pretty impressive. This is at San Diego, has no defense for some reason. Bosa will get his couple of sacks. San Diego will probably take a big lead and then let the other team catch up. I got San Diego 31-24 here. The Bears give up 27, San Diego 26. So this should be high scoring. Over under 46. So like you said, this would be a lock over 40 if we knew the grocery clerk better or if Fields was playing. So because it's new with the grocery clerk, we don't know what we're getting, so we can't lock it. Oakland, Detroit. Oakland's a W team, terribly coached. Garoppolo's terrible. They give up 23. Detroit is an E team, terribly coached. Goff's a choke. Looked at last week. They give up 22, but that's questionable. It almost you have to break the Lions out. When they play Kansas City, Seattle, Baltimore, they have no defense. They give up a ton of points. When they play teams with no offense, Atlanta with the Riddler, Carolina, Tampa, and Green Bay, then their defense is pretty well. Against Green Bay, they still gave up 20 points, I think. So against like Vince Young and Riddler and Mayfield, guys that can't throw a complete pass, they look really good. They pressure the quarterback. But against teams that are good, they disappear. So what do we have here? We got Garoppolo, who could complete passes. We have their defensive tackle, Crosby. So he's going to muck up the works. I got Detroit winning 23-10. I think it'll be low scoring because I think that's what Detroit against this style of quarterback does. Even last week I had Baltimore. I think I locked the game or I just had it strong. I had a game under because I thought they would keep Lamar, who can't pass the ball. I didn't realize all these 5-yard passes were going to go. So I think Detroit wins at home 23-10. I don't think Oakland's the type of team that can do them damage. San Diego will beat them. Denver will beat them. They're kind of unlucky. They got lucky getting Kansas City week 1. If they played them now, they'd never win. And they're getting unlucky in the fact that they get Denver and San Diego later when they're much better. Here they're getting Oakland, who is just terrible. Probably the worst. Them and San Diego are the 2 worst coach teams I've ever seen. And then followed quickly by Washington, Carolina, and Miami. Just terrible coaching. And you can tell the difference when Coach Pete's coaching or the Rams coach or some of these better coaches, although not Belichick anymore. Everybody thinks Belichick's so good, and then Brady's gone, and now we see the real Belichick. That's what I said last week. We saw the real Lions last week. That's the real team. Now you're seeing the real Belichick. That guy can't coach shit. It was all Brady. Brady's gone. He can't win. somehow he put up points against a terrible coach Buffalo team. We will see. All right, 12:30. We got a half hour. So those are the scores. Let me give you again. So the free pick is Philadelphia. We got Indy 24-21 over New Orleans, Pitt 2017 Jacksonville, Houston 24-10 Carolina, Philly 28-10. That's your free pick. Dallas 24-20 against the Rams, Miami 41-20 against New England. The Jets 20-3 over the Giants. Atlanta 17-13 over Tennessee. Minnesota 23-20 over Green Bay. Seattle 2017, assuming the receivers all play. If they don't play, forget about it. KC 27-17 over Denver. Should be a good game. Frisco 23-17 with Purdy. Since he's got a good defense, Frisco, we know he's got a good. You don't really want to fuck if Frisco. If Purdy wasn't out, I would have played this game differently. But I've already bet Cincy because Purdy was supposed to be fucking out. So 23-17, but I think Joe Burrow will get us a win anyway. Baltimore 24-17 over Arizona. San Diego 31, Chicago 24. Depending on this grocery clerk, if he's really good or if he's not so good, looked good against Oakland. Now there's film on him, but San Diego just really blows. And then Detroit 23-10 over Oakland. Garoppolo's just pathetic. And that's week 8. I had 3 locks, so I took the Cincinnati lock off with Purdy playing. So there's 2 locks going today. I have 4 or 5 games where the college is with the pro that I've hit the college. Love my locks today in the pros. I just love them. Very strong locks. And, teams like the Jets, I think the Jets win. We'll learn about mini Green Bay today. KC should handle Denver by 1. I mean, just win the game. I can't see them getting blown out because Denver doesn't have the defense to do it. The only team that can really bother KC is going to be the Jets, which I think they played, didn't they? Baltimore and San Francisco. And anybody else? No, those are your teams that are going to bother the night. Really strong defenses. And Georgia, of course. But Denver doesn't have the defense to stop Mahomes. What are you going to do with Mahomes? You can't stop him. You got to be able to put pressure on him. But he dances around it anyway, and Kelsey finds the open spot. There's no way they're losing the game. Will they cover the 7? I don't know, but I do like them minus the 1. Cincinnati should be a good play. Baltimore, don't be surprised if they don't win 38-3. Maybe they do, but then don't get over aggressive with them, thinking that's it. I mean, it's beating Detroit and Arizona, hardly good teams. Let's check out the grocery clerk in Chicago. Atlanta, Tennessee. Let's check out Willis. Tyrod Taylor's much better than Jones for the Giants. And the problem is the Giants signed Jones to this big contract. Who wants him now? You couldn't give him. He couldn't make it back at North Carolina or Duke, wherever he's from. This picking him in the first round was absolutely a joke. But who's you going to trade? Who would want this guy? Daniel Jones is terrible. His strong suit is running the ball when flushed out of the pocket. All right, so anything else? Greg, John, look at the schedule. Don't ask those questions in the middle of class because people want to know what's going on. You can ask those questions on Friday, but just look at the schedule. Just go to a site, Score and Odds. They show all the games. I think it's the top 6 or 7. Dallas, Miami, Washington, Philly. The Houston game, the Pitt game, the Indy game, I would believe, and the Jet Giant probably. I think mini Green Bay might be 4:00, and then Seattle, Denver, Frisco, Arizona are 4:00. San Diego's tonight, and Detroit's Monday night. I got a kidding putting Detroit on Monday night. Do they think they're going to draw audience? Anyway, so I'll be busy looking at next week's college games, which I haven't looked at yet, and excited to get going on that. See, now I've got it blended out, like the way I showed you on Tennessee, Kentucky yesterday, where you think Kentucky's an under defense, but you go into this you go into the schedule and you see, wait a minute, they gave up 50 to Georgia, 40 here, 40 there, and the next thing you know, they're not an under. And then they play the game. The over-under is 51. I go over 45, and they score 70 points. Beautiful. So that's really the what you have to look at, and that's what I find. I did very well on my overs, on my over-under locks, except for the last one, San Jose State, Hawaii. For some reason, Hawaii doesn't score, which is a little unusual, but I was very happy with the Oak State game and the USC game. That was just beautiful. They're both over teams. They both give up 31, and it was 66. I can't believe this number didn't go to 70. So I told you to bet it early because I can't believe this line stayed at 66, maybe a 67. Hold this. See, here's where I catch Vegas. This should have been, if I'm the VP of a sports book or owner of it or running it, and I see this line, it's a 75. That's my opening line, 75. How do they come up with 66? Are they insane? But that's what I take advantage of. Because I know it so well, I can take advantage of it. And that's kind of what I try to teach you in everything. Understand gold, understand economics and silver, understand football, understand women, understand poker, gambling. If you can really understand it, you can take advantages of these miscalculations. The Oak State Cincinnati game was a joke. I think it was 53. That was my favorite lock because Oak State's playing well and scoring a lot. Arizona is a home dog. I couldn't believe that. Why was Oregon State favored? Arizona's been playing really well. We hit that one. Let's see. Minnesota, Michigan State. I can't believe I didn't lock that game. I love Minnesota there. Only because Michigan State's terrible, right? And I'm listening in the car going to Chinese. It's 6-0 Michigan State. And I look at the final, it was like 24-9 or something like that. Clemson loses to NC State. West Virginia, UCF was another lock over that went over easily. A&M I hit. South Carolina looks like shit. SMU blows out Tulsa. So there was a lot of game in Kansas, Oklahoma. I couldn't understand why Oklahoma was a 10-point favorite. Kansas is a very good team. So I like that. I get like mad at myself, like, why didn't you lock Kansas? You knew they were going to win, and you're getting 15 points, and they win the game straight out. I mean, that's what sucks. The Duke under was good. The Notre Dame was good. Anyway, so that's what you do. So pros are a little bit harder to figure out in the beginning because of preseason. They don't play preseason. The whole fucking league gets pulled hamstring muscles. So you're dealing – the problem with the pros right now, the first few weeks, since everybody's injured because they don't play in the preseason so they don't get injured – you're getting fourth and fifth string players, right? You're getting grocery clerks playing. You're getting players that aren't good, and you have to bet on them, which is why I don't bet preseason. Okay, you get Mahomes, and you get, Herbert, and you get some of these quarterbacks, Russell Wilson. You lose Rodgers right away. You lose who else? Richardson I don't care about. Josh Allen's injured but playing, and Mahomes and Wilson and Burrow. You lost in the beginning, but now he's coming into his own. Purdy, you got Lamar, and then so you're getting these players that aren't you don't want to bet on them. That's why you don't bet preseason. So now they're finally getting some guys back, like Green Bay is getting Aaron Jones back. So you got to see what's going on with that. But that's what makes it very difficult. So now we're seeing it clear. College, I've got. College, big win. Here we go. The rest of the year, we're going to nail them. Pros, we're getting there. We figured out, the new Carolina, the new Indy, the new Houston. The Jets look good. The Giants. So, like, we're seeing the Giants suck. New England suck. And Arizona suck. The Bears are terrible. We're seeing that. Oakland. So we kind of knew a lot of that going in. The Bears and Oakland would be terrible with the coaching. We didn't know the Giants would be that bad, but we could guess. New England is just terrible, and Miami's an over team. So we learned Miami's an over team. We learned Philly, what they are. They're not the same defense as they were last year. So you could go over in their games a little bit more. Carolina just is a Z team. Okay. And then Houston is more of an under team. So that's what we thought with Stroud. They wouldn't do much. Young with Carolina doesn't do anything. They're terrible. Richardson was terrible at Indy, but Minshew's really better. And the question is, why isn't Carolina starting Dalton? And why, Indy's finally starting Minshew because of injury. Why? It didn't matter with Stroud at Houston. They didn't have anybody. They had Davis Mills. So you're really starting to see, you got Stafford back with Cooper Kupp. So you're starting to see the teams form a little bit. You're looking for consistency. I can't go and do teaser trends more than this year and last year. I can't even go back 3 years unless it's Kansas City, San Diego, Baltimore. There's only a handful of teams I can look at the third year and use those trends because the coach and quarterback have been there. Otherwise, most of these guys, what do you do with Washington and Thurston Howell III, who this the first time he's starting? How bad is he? See, you don't know. Is he, Purdy's Joe Montana and Howell blows, and Dobbs looks a lot better than we thought. So you're getting all this new information you didn't have before, and you got to digest it, and then you got to figure it out. And you shouldn't have to. In the pros, you should have consistency, right? You should have Mahomes. You should have Russell Wilson. Burrow. Purdy, we got a pretty good idea. We know Lamar. We know Herbert. We know those guys. But there's so much of this new bullshit. What the fuck is Howell playing for? What the fuck is Jordan Love playing for? And then you start Stroud and Young and Richardson. You start these guys. These guys sucked in college. You're starting them? I mean, that's just ridiculous. So I don't really understand where that's coming from, that you're like Richardson and Young, you're starting. I mean, Young didn't do anything at Alabama last year. Didn't look good. And then Richardson was horrible at Florida. So I don't really get, okay, you want to draft them, why you're even starting them yet when you got better. Like Carolina should be starting Dalton if they're serious about winning, but it looks like they're not. The question is going to be, are they going to keep Vince Young, or are they going to get Hartman or Van Dyke or Penix or Bo Nix or Caleb Williams instead? USC doesn't have much of an defense, but they got a good offense. So what are you going to do? Cam Rising's a sleeper now. That guy should be first round. He should be the first pick in the draft. And I told my buddy, if I was Cam Rising, I'd be suing the doctor because you're killing me financially by not. If I redshirt now, it's another year. I'm another year older. And if I don't redshirt, nobody's going to draft me high because I didn't play this year. So it really sucks. What are you going to do? Well, Rising's a top 5 pick, and he can't play, which is fucking Utah up. So you get a few of that. Like yesterday's game with Oregon would have been a lock over. If Rising's playing, I would have bet Utah plus the points is a lock. If they're getting 6 or 7 points with Rising, right? So that's where that hurts you. But Texas looked good with their backup quarterback. I got to check the box score to see who the fuck it was, but they got the defense. So that shows you how impressive Oregon was. Hey, Alex, how are you? I added a few plays this morning, Alex, and I just took the lock off the Cincinnati game because Purdy, I can't believe he's playing, but I still play it. I mean, I already bet it, but just if you haven't bet it yet, you might not have bet it yesterday because of college, but they're posted. Well, the Duke under did. Yeah, Washington didn't come, and well, we hit some of them, but yeah. Well, I didn't play the Tennessee over. Ohio State under was good, and yeah, UCLA and Washington were kind of didn't. UCLA fumbled the ball 4 times at the 10-yard line. I love that one, but yeah, that's why they're not locks. They're. I thought they were good plays. I was just pissed I didn't play Kansas. I think that bothered me. Yeah, a little bit. That defense at home, I thought would have been better. Duke under was great. I mean, I like that one. And, you know, it's what do I do? Because I like Notre Dame and I like Kansas, but you can't. You're trying to. Okay, I'll take UCLA. I can't believe I can believe that they shut down Colorado. But I can't believe they didn't run through them. And the fucking running back, fumbled twice at the 10-yard line. So that's really what killed it. Otherwise, it's going to go over. But that's what happens. But the locks I loved. They came through very good. And then today's the 2 locks. And I love those locks. Like I said, I think I added 1 or 2 games. I've been waiting for the Seattle receivers, but they're still listed as questionable. So I let them go. And I've decided what to do with Minnesota, but Aaron Jones is playing. So I'm so confused on that game. That's about it. Philly should have no problem with Washington with their 27 defense. But anyway, yeah, it was a good day yesterday. I was happy. And USC, I should have played in 10 teaser. How about that game? 66, they go to 98. And I call it, right? That was a beautiful over. I made a lot on Oak State, took them at reverse points. Oh, good. Yeah, I loved Oak State. Yeah, Fresno State. Well, Mikey Keene played, I believe. But I loved Oak State. That was really my favorite lock of the whole bunch. And the USC one. And then probably should have locked Ohio State under. When I was thinking of one, because Mordecai was out. And I'm watching the game going, I can't believe I didn't lock this. Oak State turned it around. They killed Kansas and Kansas State. And then the real capper was the West Virginia. They put up 48 on them. Nobody puts up 48 on West Virginia. I knew that was an over, and then they got Cincinnati who scores. So that was the total was low. Yeah, SMU I thought about, Notre Dame I thought about, but like I say, you kind of how many locks can I put out there? But if they're good plays, they're good plays. But yeah, I like Kansas State. I like Kansas. I should have locked Kansas, but how do you lock against Oklahoma? But yeah, I love Kansas. I knew they wouldn't lose by a lot. I thought it'd be a close game, and then they scored at the end to win it. But that didn't surprise me at all. Kansas is a very good team, and they don't get the love. How were they 9.5-point dogs yesterday at home? There's no fucking way Oklahoma had a chance to cover that. Texas looked good without their quarterback, beating BYU. I was surprised by that. BYU's pretty good. The Duke under was easy because of Riley Leonard. I don't know if he played or not. I guess they didn't get to the inside the red zone the whole game. Notre Dame's looking good. Tulane Rice I called, but I didn't play. I called it over. And Washington is, I don't know what's wrong with them now. Or Stanford's now lighting it up. Maybe they're an over team now. I still think they stink, but they came back from Colorado. Now they played Washington close. That I just couldn't believe. But I put it with UCLA. So, it's kind of like I was scared of both of those. And you get it. But that's what we got. But there's always the SMU game that you don't play and the UCLA game you do play. But UCLA, Colorado, I would have played it. I'd play it this week, the same thing. But see, this is what I'm afraid of with Colorado. They played Oregon, got shut out. Yesterday they got shut out. I knew they were going to have trouble with UCLA. Very strong defense. The Twins. And, they're going to have trouble when they play Utah. Although Utah can't score. So that one will probably play under. But, yeah, Utah is going to shut them down too. If they'll be lucky to get 14 on Utah. That's why you got to keep track of the defensive teams because they'll shut down the offensive teams. UCLA, USC is going to be interesting now because although I think UCLA scores more, but on USC, but interesting. I think somebody plays Oregon next week. I don't know who that is. But Oregon, so Oregon's tough because they got the good defense. I just assume play the other teams, the USC's and the Cals over. Those are sure things. Anyway, anything else on the pros? Again, your free pick, Philadelphia. I got 2 locks going that I love these locks. And then I don't know what to do with Cincinnati now with Purdy playing. I still think Burrow is going to give him a game because he's Joe Burrow and he's playing much, and they need the game. KC should win, laying 1.5 or 1. And Seattle, we're waiting for their receivers, and Minnesota, Green Bay is also. I don't know what to do because I got Aaron Jones playing today, and now it's instead of just betting against Green Bay, now I got to think with Aaron Jones. I don't know who Minnesota is. I don't know how the hell they beat the Niners. So you beat the Niners on Monday night. You're going to go beat Green Bay at Green Bay. Now, Love stinks. We know. There's no Jefferson on Minnesota. The defense seems to be getting a little better. I don't know what to do in this game. I could go over. I could go under. I could tease the dog. I don't even know what to do with it. So I'm not doing anything with it. The Jets, Jets, all the way. Interesting game, Dallas, LA. New Orleans, Indy. Indy's an over team. Indy gives up 27 a game, scores 26-27. And New Orleans, I think, is before Kamara and then after Kamara. So I think this game should get some points. Anyway, I'm keeping an eye on the grocery clerk from Chicago, see how he plays. And we'll see how Baltimore, are they still laughing at beating the Lions the way they did? And then the Lions, how will they react? They're lucky they get Oakland. But they're not. Don't get brainwashed into thinking the Lions are any good. That was the Lions last week. That's the real team. No defense. No coaching. Goff disappeared. That's Goff in a big game. He's like Tagliavua. He doesn't show up in a big game. He'll beat Carolina and he'll beat Atlanta and Tampa Bay. He'll do fine. But against the good teams, they pressure him. All he did was throw the ball into the ground. They should have called him for grounding every time. Will I watch the games? Probably the 4:00 games. From here, I'll go swim, get my workout in because they're only open till 4:30. So I don't have a choice. It's either go before, but I got to wake up, and this is at 11. I got to do this before the game. So I'll go swim probably when I'm done here, but I'm not going to be done here for a while. So 10 minutes. Anything else on football? I want to talk about this very disturbing WhatsApp I got yesterday. Anyway, I'll dig into next week's college. We'll talk about them tomorrow and how we did today in the pros. So it lines up, but there's some games. I'd be surprised if Philly lost to Washington. I'd be surprised if KC lost to Denver. Mini game, whatever happens, won't be surprised. I'll be surprised if Cincy beats the Niners with Purdy, but not really. With Burrow, you can get the win, but the Niners are on a 2-game losing streak. The best thing that can happen is the Niners lose. Now they're on a 3-game losing streak, and now whoever they play next is going to get killed. But let's see how the grocery store. That wouldn't surprise me if the grocery store guy beats San Diego. He looked pretty good against Oakland last week, so it won't surprise me. I got 31-24 San Diego, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's 34-31 Chicago, and the kid lights it up, and that's the end of Fields. Fields is gone. It's just hilarious. And then, Willis is terrible. I know that. Taylor should start at the Giants over Jones all the day. And then Kyler Murray's ready to go, and they told him to sit down. And they're going with Dobbs, and he didn't get activated, but he's apparently ready to go. So I think they keep Dobbs, and they say to Murray, we'll trade you. We'll get a number 1 pick. Maybe they get Hartman or Van Dyke, and then they get their quarterback. Or maybe they get one of these Georgia defensive players first and move on with that. Oregon's got a really good running back. So we'll see who they take with the first pick in the draft. It's between them, Chicago, Washington, and the Giants. They're fighting it out for the and it's not Caleb Williams. He's shifty. So is Kyler Murray, and we see how that's happened. So it's not necessarily, and so is Vince Young of Carolina. They're shifty and they can throw, but you know what? They don't win. And Fields, he doesn't win. So that's what you got to be careful about. It's do they win games for you, not the fact that they're there. So anyway, I think that wraps it up. Good luck today. Now I want to get to this WhatsApp. It's really disturbing me. So a girl says she watches the class. It's the Chinese email I showed you. She says, give me your WhatsApp. So I give her my WhatsApp. We're talking on WhatsApp. And it's some other Chinese girl tried to scam me about a month ago talking about gold and just regurgitating some Google shit on it, saying it's priced at market. And I'm like, no, it's not. This is what I teach. It's the paper price. We want the physical price. So she keeps regurgitating Google. Oh, gold priced at this, and the global economy, won't crack. Like, she's contradicting a lot of what I say. I don't know if she thinks what I say is, I'm guessing, or an opinion, but it's not. It's reality. It's facts. And it's like saying the grocery clerk's starting for Chicago. He is. Or Prescott's going to throw interceptions. He will. So she's arguing with me about it. And she's just saying, she keeps on with gold, but it reminded me of the last girl. And the last girl tried to do a scam on me on Bitcoin. Oh, give me $100 and I'll invest it in Bitcoin for you. We'll make money because it's all this and that, which I immediately blocked her. This girl starts talking about Bitcoin, and I immediately, okay, you're going to scam me too? And I told her to go fuck off. I INFJ'd her, which means I basically, you push my buttons and you lose because I get pissed off. So I told her to fuck off. I go, what part of gold are you not understanding? the dollar's fiat. It's all over the world. It's all collapsing. And she kept doing shit with gold, like, well, no, it's at the market price, supply and demand. What part of it is supply and demand? It's all based on COMEX. It's about JP Morgan keeping the price down so there's no competition for the dollar. We've gone over that 1,000 times. That's what the Titanic is about. This has no value. This cannot compete with gold. This is the whole world. This is the euro too. I mean, I don't know how many times I have to explain this, and then there's still idiots out there that don't get it. And the whole world, fiat is going because it's not backed by gold. What part of that concept do we not understand? And she keeps saying, well, gold won't do that. It's a complex market and this and that. Now, she says she's from China, and, and she's living in LA. And I go, why would you live in LA? It's bullshit. She says, what do you think of China? I says, well, I think it's a communist country. There's no freedom there. They lock you up for COVID. They steal your money. Nobody trusts the government, and nobody trusts the housing market, the stock market. They get into houses and everybody got fucked. So that's what I think of China. And she says, well, no, you're free. I go, no, you're not free. I know communism. The government tells you if you can go take a piss or not. So that raised my eyebrows, like, all right, who the fuck are you? And that's the problem with these. You don't know who they are. And so I kept saying gold is not free market. Gold is controlled. But you keep talking about paper gold. Paper gold is not, it's not free market either. It's not. Paper gold is keep it down so it doesn't compete with the dollar. It is not anywhere near free market. Physical gold doesn't even have a price because it's not free market. And I'm going, what the fuck are you talking about? You say you listen to my class and you don't understand the basic concepts that I teach on gold. That's the point of gold. It is not free market. It is the paper price everybody's looking at. What part of that are we not understanding? And this girl just kept with the paper, gold's fairly priced and it's at market. I'm like, okay, you've just pissed off an INFJ. And I just laid into her and blocked her and told her to fuck off. What do you think? I'm saying this, I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm saying this but I'm really not knowing, or I really no, gold's really not this. So it really pissed me off. You don't want to get my wrath. And when I give it, you don't want to be on the other side. That's an INFJ thing. We get it takes a while to piss us off, but when you piss us off, you don't want to get on the other side of it. So I just crushed her, and I said, stop, don't bother me again. I don't know who you are, if you're a guy or a girl, or if you're Chinese or not, or what the fuck you are, but you're obviously an idiot. So I just I just blocked her. But it was a very demeaning. I says, you're insulting me with your knowledge of gold, thinking like she's not believing what I'm saying. She's coming up with she probably goes on to Google, how does gold price? Oh, it's free market. And then she's sending me that on WhatsApp. I says, I'm telling you, it's not free market. Why are you arguing with me? That's very upsetting to me that you're not trusting what I'm saying, that you're going on Google to come up with their thing, which I've already disproven. The fuck are you doing? And why are you talking to me then? I didn't understand that. So I was very, if you want to question that physical gold will go to 50,000, you can question it, but I've given you the answer. It's going to go because the dollar is going to zero, because that's what fiat currency does. The whole fucking world's going to zero because they keep printing it and printing it and printing it. I mean, that's not a hard concept to understand. That is what's happening, and it is what will happen. And if you don't believe it, well, okay, that is what's going to happen. If you are scared that you've got $50,000 and now what do I do? Okay, I'm telling you, get into gold. Most people here get it. But if you're gonna get me onto WhatsApp on a Saturday night, I'm watching the ball games, and you're gonna bring that shit up, No, we can have a conversation, but where do I buy gold at, or how do I buy it, or sell it? That's fine. But to what's the word, to disrespect me like that, that's not going to work. Obviously, I said, you're obviously a Keynesian. You're obviously some scam artist wanting me to buy Bitcoin. You obviously don't understand a word I was saying. So what the fuck are you talking to me for? You either understand me and you believe me and you go, wow, that's interesting and that's smart and that you make sense, or you're a Madoff and you don't want to hear it, and you are a communist who doesn't like gold. Go listen to Peter Schiff if you want, or Rick Rude, or any of those guys if that's what you prefer. But I don't want to. That's not me. I'm telling you the truth, and you're coming up with other things. You keep countering me, and there is no counter. This is not an argument. This is not a debate. This is a class. This is what's happening. I'm warning you. This is a warning. So when she kind of kept countering me, gold's this, but gold's intrinsic value, and it's not. No, you're missing the whole fucking point. That's not exactly what gold is. Gold is an asset. It's got its own value. She kept saying that it's linked to the dollar. It's not linked to the dollar. The paper currency is linked to the dollar, but not physical gold. Like the Rolex isn't linked to the dollar, and the Mantle card is not linked to the dollar. The Mantle card's $60,000, got nothing to do with the dollar. It's because it's an asset, and that's what people bid. That's the free market. I have a card. I don't know what it's worth. I'm going to sell it. It's a Barry Bonds. It's only made 100 of them. I'll put it out for $5,000. And either I get a buy or nobody. And then I got to figure, is that too high? If it's bought, it's probably too low. And that's the market. Does it have anything to do with the fucking dollar? No. The dollar could be higher or weaker. This has nothing to do with it. So I don't really understand. I'll take a picture for Daria, but I don't really understand what the fuck people are having a hard time with. So that's really where I'm at, is you either believe what I say or you don't. And if you don't, you're going to be in big trouble. You'll be on the Titanic and it's going to sink. That's why I do the Titanic. So what part of this are we not getting? And this is but I don't hear it from her in class. I hear it from her when she's WhatsApping me, I guess trying to scam me into buying Bitcoin from her so she can scam my money. So that's where I'm at. I don't know why anybody would live in LA. You've got to be kidding, with all the high taxes and all the homeless people and the crime. Who the fuck moves from China to LA? You got to be out of your mind. I won't even visit it. My friend Carmen, well, let's go to LA. I go, I ain't going to LA. I'll never go back to LA, not until everything returns to normal. I says, forget it. We're not going to San Francisco, where it's all homeless people and high taxes. I ain't going there. A lot of crime. Why would I go there? It's like Jenna wants me to come to the Ukraine. I go, you're in a fucking war. I'm not coming into a war. I would come to you and visit you if there wasn't a war going on. But as long as there's bombing, what am I doing? She's told me that today, Jenna, there was a rocket that went through the city. She says we could see it in the air, which is really surprising because Putin doesn't really want to destroy his own country. He looks at Ukraine as part of Russia. So he's not bombing them because he doesn't want to destroy it, because he's really not after the war. He's defending Russia from the U.S., not from the Ukraine. So it's really surprising that there was that somebody sent a rocket into where Jenna lives, which is a farmland type of little village. So really surprising there. But that's where that's at. But again, I won't go there because it's the middle of a fucking war. So I won't go to LA. So anybody that says they live in LA got to be out of their minds. Anyway, so I was very disappointed, and just to the point where I don't need to hear this shit of I don't need to hear the shit of gold. Like, if you don't understand paper and physical after me explaining it for 2 years, I really don't know how else to tell you. I mean, what is it that you want? I mean, it's paper. It's not real. It's not at market. There is no supply and demand on paper. It's all derivatives to get the price down. There is no real price, supply demand price for physical. It's going to happen soon once Russia comes in with gold back rubles. And then when they take over BRICS in January and they have a gold back BRICS, that's why you have gold backing your money, for safety. Yes, the whole global currency is about to blow up because of it's all paper money, except for maybe Zimbabwe. They're the only ones with gold. So they're trying to talk you out of gold because they lose control if they get rid of paper money, but they won't have a choice because it's all going to zero because they think they can just print it. So that's really the disturbing point of what's really going on. And that's my point. So anyway, I INFG'd her, which means I just slammed the door on her and I blocked her, and I don't want to hear from her. And it's just kind of rude. If somebody tells me something, I don't want to, now at this point, you either believe me or not. I've been on for how many years? So that's what you're looking at. But what are you doing with gold? I mean, that's such an easy subject that we talk about. So again, understanding the game. She didn't understand the game. I understood her game, which was just bullshit. And I don't have time for it. So basically, if you ever get into a conversation, when you say gold is going to go up and they're pricing it in paper and the person keeps coming back at you with gold this and gold that, and it's priced at fair market and it's supply and demand, as soon as they say that, they're fucking playing around. They're not intelligent enough to have a conversation with, especially saying she watches the class, knowing my background, how you can even come back at me like that. I'm telling you, it's gold is not that. Gold is, it's about to go. It's not priced at physical. It's not priced at physical, and it's not priced at supply and demand. Okay, that's obvious. We know that. We know it's paper price. So if you keep arguing that point, I don't know what to tell you, because basically you just don't understand what we're talking about. And then you look like an idiot because you keep thinking paper's physical and you can't differentiate the two. And if you go on Google for a definition and they tell you it's priced at it's priced at supply and demand and it's properly priced, there's nothing else I can say to you. You're just don't get it. It's too far over your head. And why do I want to have a conversation with somebody like that? And that's really what the problem is, right? I can't have a conversation with somebody that just is clueless. I'm telling you what's happening. I'm telling you correctly the truth. I know it's different than what's on Google. That's why I'm telling you, because they want you out of gold into paper, but the paper's collapsing. But you think they're going to say that? No. The whole world economy is going to zero. You think they're going to say that? No, because they don't want to scare you. But I'm telling you what's going to happen, and it will happen. Just like the Romans. This girl would have been great with the Romans. Oh, no, our currency is not going to collapse. It's backed by gold and silver. Not anymore. We're going bankrupt. Oh, no, we're not. We're Rome. I mean, it's so stupid. Anyway, it's just hard to have a conversation with people like that. And there's nothing I just like, forget it. Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm closing the door. Like my ex-wife, I saw her Chinese. She didn't even say hi. I wouldn't have said hi. I would have probably punched her in the nose for keeping my kids away, but I would not. I basically closed the door to her. I wouldn't talk to her. Closing the door means I've had enough. There's nothing more to discuss. You're just wasting my time. I moved on. And that's what closing the door is. It's like, no, I'm not talking to you. Like I said, the guy who told me he was getting married, and I said, why? And now he says hi to me, and I'm like, I've closed the door to you. I don't have anything more to say to you. I tried helping you. You didn't listen. You disrespected me. I got nothing. I don't have. Why would I talk to you? What are you going to do? You're going to keep disrespecting me? Or now you're going to be my friend because I was right? You can't treat me like that. I'm not going to allow that. So that's really what the INFJ does, is when you just come across so stupid. If I keep saying gold price is a paper price, not a real physical price, you either believe it or you don't. If you don't believe it, then you're a communist, and I don't have any further point to talk to you. If you do believe it, then we can continue our conversation. But I'm not going to talk to somebody who believes paper gold is the real price, or that the economy is not collapsing, or how gold's linked to the dollar. What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Is this linked to the dollar? Really? How is this linked to the dollar? Oops. This is not linked to the dollar. The Rolex isn't linked to the dollar. The only link is, as the dollar loses value, the price of the asset goes up because it takes more dollars to buy the asset. That's all. So when the dollar goes out, gold will be worth what it is in gold, and that's it. So I'm not really understanding what the problem is, but I don't need a Google definition of what the fuck it is, and why do you keep going back there? That's it. It's all over. Gold is priced at the paper price, not physical, period. Why is there a comeback? It's over. That's it. That's what it is. COMEX, we've proven that. It's the paper price. It's the derivative price. It is not free market. What part do you not understand of that? Why do you keep coming back at that? So it's really irritating, but that's why I closed the door. It's not something that is worth. Where am I going to go from here? You're not going to convince me that the derivative gold's the real price, because I know it isn't, because it's price fixed, because they can print derivatives without having the gold, just like the ETFs. So therefore, it is not the real price. I know it's not the real price. So what are we even talking about? So what are you trying to convince me I'm wrong? Well, that ain't going to happen. Are you trying to convince me you're on the Titanic and it's not going to sink? Is this what you're saying? That's kind of what you were saying, right? The Titanic's going down. It hit the iceberg and it's sinking. And everybody needs to get off of the paper boat into the gold boat. Very easy, very obvious. She's trying to tell me, no, the Titanic's not sinking. Yeah, it hit the iceberg, but it's not sinking. It's unsinkable. And as the water gets higher and higher. So I'm like, whatever. It's, that's why it's hard to talk to people like that. I don't have the time. I'm trying to watch football. It's just, forget about it. So that's where it's at. Anyway, so we'll see what happens we're going into November, December, January. We do expect the gold to go up. It's starting to move, but we expect it to go much higher with the we're expecting it to go much higher with the as the physical fizzles and the Russians start coming up with the gold back ruble and then the gold back bricks. Once it's gold back, price of gold has to go up because they can't print enough of the dollars at the price. So they make the price higher because the idea of a gold-backed currency is, here's a $5 euro, but it's backed by gold now. So I go to the bank and I say, give me my $5 worth of gold. And they have to give it to me. That's the point of a gold-backed currency. The U.S. and England's too corrupt to do that. They want to keep printing, thinking that they won't have any problems. They don't understand you can print it. You can't print it to death. You're going to print it to zero. They don't understand that concept. And so therefore they don't want to get into gold where you can't print it because gold says you can only print as much as there is gold. And that's the bottom line. And that's what's happening. So very obvious there. So anyway, that's what we have. Very disturbing, that WhatsApp. So I got to kind of, that's why I go, a lot of it as I go swimming to get out of the house, to take a break, to swim. The exercise is very good for you. The hot tub is very good for you. So that's why I'm generally, I take a break to go there. When I'm working, I tend to go at night and I'll do the show at night. But when I'm not working, it's like during the week, I'll go at 10 o'clock and then do the show after. So it keeps me occupied, keeps me busy, and gets me out of the house. I find that to be the biggest problem when you're not working. You don't want to just sit in the house and do nothing all day. So that's what I do. Anyway, so we'll look at the football. I got a feeling the war in Israel is about ending the war in Russia. So I keep feeling that's going to end really soon, and it'll just end. And they won't really say anything, but you're going to notice the Israeli war. And now we're looking at the Israeli war going on, which who knows if it's even a war. And then here comes the Russia war ending, and then I can finally go to Russia to meet Daria after like a year and a half. So anyway, that would be nice. And anyway, so we'll watch some football today. We'll hit the pool, and that's about it. So have a nice day. Don't know what else. Seems like Sundays people want to get the picks and the information, and then like now they're watching the game. So I'm going to do that. So have a nice day. Good luck to you. www.teaserking.com. And I'll see you tomorrow afternoon about 12:31, somewhere in that neighborhood. And good luck, everybody on the games. All right.